Hi and welcome to another one of Surf Simply's quick tips with me, Roo Hill. One of my favorite things when I'm teaching surfing is when you can teach someone something that's both really functionally useful and a stepping stone to stuff they're going to learn in future, and also really fun to do just in and of itself. And this is one of those things. This is about faded takeoffs. So it's really important that we learn how to do carving turns. It's one of the most fundamental skills in surfing. It's how we put the board where we want it to be on the wave. If you've watched the little video I did of how to take your friends surfing for the first time, you'll notice that we actually teach people how to do a carving turn before we even teach people how to stand up, just laying down on their belly, how it works, going back onto the steering wheel and forwards onto the accelerator. So later on, when you start doing those first two important horizontal maneuvers on the wave face as a level 3 surfer, which is to say cutbacks and floaters, you need carving turns for them too. A cutback is probably the most iconic and important carving turn. And then a floater often requires a little carving turn just so you can get the board pointing at the whitewater when you want to climb up on top of it. Later on in level 4 surfing, where you're doing vertical off the lip surfing, that it's all about the carves, and that's the whole world. That's really, really important. Okay, so this tip is for people who are riding fairly big boards and who are on fairly soft waves. Let's say kind of like waist high to shoulder high kind of waves. This is a really fun drill. And it's basically a way of practicing carving turns, but like I said before, it's really fun just to do in and of itself, even if it didn't lead on to anything else. The drill that you're going to give yourself is how big a carving change of direction can I do on a wave? Or I should just say how big a change of direction, because if it's a change of direction, it has to be a carving turn, pretty much. So that would involve taking off on a wave, and instead of thinking about surfing down the line, you'd take off on the wave, angle your board a little bit to the right or the left, and then you would stand up, move your weight right back, and carve the board right round the other way. Now, it doesn't matter for this drill whether you just crash into the whitewater. It doesn't matter if it's functional or not functional. You just want to get really good at doing the biggest carving change of direction that you possibly can do on the wave face. A faded takeoff is when it starts to become functional, and it's just a nice, neat little trick where when you see a wave peeling to the right or peeling to the left, instead of being right next to the whitewater in spot X, taking off and angling your board down the line, you found that by accident or on purpose, you've taken off perhaps 2 or 3 board lengths ahead of where the whitewater is. Now I say this is usually for people on bigger boards, because quite often on a smaller board, you can't do that because you're too far out on the shoulder. Whereas on a mini mal or a longboard, you're able to catch a slightly less steep wave, so you can be further away from where the whitewater is. So I'm catching that wave, I'm going to angle my takeoff exactly the wrong way, facing back towards the whitewater, just for a second or so, and that's when you then do the classic carving turn maneuver, which means first of all, you step right back to get your back foot as near the back of the board as you can, and then you point your chest the way that you want the board to turn, and you try to do a carving turn right in front of that whitewater as it's coming towards you, so that you finish with your board pointing down the line and the whitewater breaking behind you, and you elegantly cruising off down the line with everyone swooning with admiration as you go by. That's what a faded takeoff is. They're really fun because it's one of the only carving turns where your speed increases all the way through the turn, because at every moment through the turn, you are getting closer and closer to the critical part of the wave. So even though your weight is right back, you'll feel the board start to accelerate forwards as you finish the turn, often without even needing to move your weight forward. So it feels really good. It looks really elegant and beautiful. And once you get good at those, that's half a cutback. And so you'll find working on both forehand and backhand cutbacks much, much easier. A cutback is basically a big carving turn back to the pocket, followed by a little faded takeoff where you then redirect yourself back down the line. So it's a really, really fun drill, and it looks cool. And I hope you guys have fun having a little play with it. All right, if you want to find out more about our coaching courses, go to surfsimply.com. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Bye.